Good morning. I'm John Uldrich, and I'm chairman of the Uldrich Integris Media Marketing Company and a partner in the operation called MIGOS, Minnesota Ag Interests Gulf Oil Spill. And what we're going to do here today on this famous bridge on pool number 1 of the Mississippi River is to demonstrate the efficacy of PGP, prairie grass particulate, as a means of absorbing, adsorbing, and agglomerating oil in the Gulf. And we're going to do several demonstrations. One is just exactly how prairie grass particulate works, and that's going to be done over here in a small test basin. We're going to demonstrate that by putting prairie grass under the surface and prairie grass particulate on top of the surface, we can in fact sandwich the oil into a condition where a number of things happen. Number one is it keeps it from breaking up and moving in rivulets or tentacles into areas where there could be endangered species. Number two, by agglomerating the oil and adding the PGP to the bottom and the top, we add an additional fuel, and that enhances the burn-off at sea rather than letting the oil slick arrive on the shore, break up into globules, and now you have a massive cleanup situation. So that's what we're going to be demonstrating. The second part of the demonstration will be the airborne delivery. And the device behind me is nothing more than a giant slingshot. And what it's going to replicate is the action, if you will, of letting these bomblets of various sizes eject from aircraft. And in this case, we're trying to model C-130s, Chinooks, Blackhawks, Pavehawks, all of the helicopters that have heavy lift capability. And the third part of this is that we already have the product set up in large, what we call biomass bombs. And these are down in Steele County, and they're 3 foot by 3 foot by 7 foot, and they weigh 675 pounds per unit. And you can get about 40 of those particular oil mass agglomerators in the cargo space of a C-130. When they're pushed out, one pulls the other one out and so on in a string. And because they are cut as they go out, the cords that bind the prairie grass particulate, they're free of that, and in the slipstream of the C-130s in the vortex behind them, we expect to deliver a large quantity of prairie grass particulate, aaasorb, which stands for adsorb, absorb, and agglomerate onto the surface in the Gulf itself. And obviously this product has merit in the estuaries, in the areas close to shore, and once it gets on the shore it's much more difficult to deal with. But because it's agglomerated, it can be more easily picked up by heavy equipment and by manual labor. Prairie grass particulate, approximately about a half an ounce. A handful is about an ounce of product, and we're holding it down. It's frozen. We're holding it down with an old-fashioned weight. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put 12 ounces of about the thickest oil that we could find for this project, automatic transmission fluid. And this is 12 ounces. We're just going to put this on the water here, and it's going to do what oil normally does. It's going to come to the surface. So now we have 1/2 of the test that we're looking at. And the second part comes with a handful of prairie grass particulate. And this is approximately 1 ounce. So we've got a ratio, 2 ounces, 1 ounce on the bottom, 1 ounce on the top, and 12 ounces of oil in the middle. And we're going to just replicate wave action. And at this point I'm going to take the weight out because we've got the prairie grass on the bottom, prairie grass on the top, and the ice is still in there, and we're just going to let that sit and cook like it would in a seaborne situation. So we'll let that one sit, and let's fire off some of the weapons. The platform that I'm standing on is roughly 110 feet. If we go higher, we add additional height. If we can fire the product higher, that's even better. Because what we want to develop are two things. One is as close to terminal velocity as we can, so that these weapons, which are nothing more than prairie grass frozen, we're introducing nothing into the Mississippi River that isn't organic. And if this were illegal, then you'd have to put a citation on every tree on the bank of the river, because there are probably billions of pounds of leaves that go into the river every year. So let's take a look and see what happens. We'll take a look upriver, and I didn't see any traffic coming there. And I see one boater far downriver, way out of the firing range. So let's give it a shot here. Is it starting to spin itself off? And by the time it comes out on the other side, that pod will be about, I would say 4 to 5 times the size as it is now. And every piece of particulate, if that were in oil, would be hanging on to the oil and bringing it closer in.